शाम बखैर और द ब्लैक होल में आप सबको खुश आमदीद। सब्ज़ा व गुल कहाँ से आए हैं, अब्र क्या चीज़ है, हवा क्या है। ये शेर है मिर्ज़ा गालिब का, जो एक बड़े ही सादा से पैराए में अशिया के वजूद पर हमें गौर करने की दावत दे रहे हैं। और ये गौर व फिक्र महज सब्ज़ा व गुल, आग, पानी, अब्र, हवा तक ही महदूद नहीं रहता, बल्कि इस ज़ैल में शऊर, लाशऊर, तहत-उश-शऊर, याददाश्त, फरामोशी वगैरह वगैरह, यानी जहन के मुख्तलिफ़ डिपार्टमेंट्स या जहन के मुख्तलिफ़ अफ़ाल भी आते हैं, जो कभी हमारे फ़लसफ़ियाना मुबाहिस का मौजू हुआ करते थे और जिन पर बाद में न्यूरोसाइंस, साइकियाट्री और साइकोलॉजी वगैरह में संजीदा काम हुआ, जो आज भी जारी है। और कुछ यही आज हमारी गुफ्तगू का मौजू या गुफ्तगू का पस मंज़र भी है। आज का उन्वान जो है आप मेरी पुश्त पे बोर्ड पे लिखा हुआ देख सकते हैं, कॉन्शियसनेस एंड द सबकॉन्शियस माइंड, multidisciplinary insights in neuroscience, psychiatry and psychology. So today we are going to discuss the cyclic interaction that shapes our mind, that shapes our mental and emotional well-being, and with insights from the set fields, that is neuroscience, psychiatry and psychology, we will try to understand the mind-body energy connection and how these fields converge to offer approaches to mental health, enhance mental clarity, emotional balance and overall well-being. इस मौजू पर गुफ्तगू का आइडिया में दिया सैयद वजाहत अली शाह ने, हु स्टैंडिंग ऑन माई राइट, और आज के ये गेस्ट स्पीकर भी हैं। मैं मुख्तसर सा तारुफ करवाता जाऊँ। वजाहत अली शाह होल्ड्स एन MBBS डिग्री फ्रॉम बिनज़ौ मेडिकल यूनिवर्सिटी, चाइना। आप लाहौर जनरल हॉस्पिटल के साथ वाबस्ता रहे हैं बतौर हाउस फिजिशियन एंड हाउस सर्जन, जहां आपने मुख्तलिफ डिपार्टमेंट्स में अपनी खदमात दी, इंक्लूडिंग रिस्पायरेटरी मेडिसन, ओटोराइनोलैरिंगोलॉजी यानी ENT, जनरल मेडिसन एंड जनरल सर्जरी। और हम बहुत शुक्रगुजार हैं कि उन्होंने आज हमारे लिए वक्त निकाला है। आप लोगों का भी शुक्रिया यहाँ तशरीफ़ लाने के लिए। थोड़ी सी जहमत करके अपने सेल फोन्स काइंडली स्विच कर दें टू साइलेंट मोड, सो दैट देयर इज़ नो डिस्ट्रैक्शन। गुफ्तगू प्रेजेंटेशन के बाद हस्बे रवायत हाउस ओपन होगा फॉर Q&A, जिसमें आप ज़रूर शरीक होइएगा अपने तबसरे, अपने सवाल के साथ। जस्ट रेज योर हैंड फर्स्ट सो दैट दिस माइक्रोफोन इज़ गिवन टू यू व्हेन द हाउस इज़ ओपन फॉर Q&A, क्योंकि माइक्रोफोन के बगैर हमें तो एक दूसरे की आवाज़ सुनाई देगी, लेकिन ऑनलाइन ऑडियंस तक फिर आवाज़ नहीं जाएगी। सो माइक्रोफोन प्लीज़ आने का इंतज़ार कीजिएगा। एंड दैट्स इट। नाउ प्लीज़ वेलकम आवर गेस्ट स्पीकर डॉक्टर सैयद वजाहत अली शाह।
Thank you so much, sir. Hi, everyone. First of all, I want to say thank you so much to the Black Hole team for giving me this opportunity to talk on this very important topic. As human body is in itself is a mystery, and the greatest mystery of the human body is human mind. Human body comprises of different systems. Like, for example, it comprises cardiovascular system, which is controlling your circulation. It comprises of digestive system, which is controlling your digestive processes. But all systems are controlled by one system that is called nervous system. And above than that, nervous system is controlling all the systems in the body. So in the nervous system, the brain is the greatest mystery until now, for the greatest minds in the history, and until now it is a mystery. And still a lot of discoveries and things are going on in the scientific area. As there are three major mysteries in the world, in the world of science, which puzzled the great minds for a long time. Number one is, what is the origin of this universe? Second one is, what is our place in this universe? And the third one is the consciousness. The first two, what is the origin of the universe? The scientists proposed a lot of theories for that. So until now, it looks like that it is a solved mystery. Second thing is, what is our place in the universe? It was believed in the past that we are the center of this universe, but until now, in the cosmological studies and in the astronomy and the cosmology and the physics, we are not the center of this universe. We are the part of this universe. But consciousness, it is a great puzzle until now for a lot of scientists, a lot of neuroscientists, a lot of psychologists, a lot of psychiatrists. Why is it a great mystery? Because as in the physics, it is said that until now the physicists do not propose a theory which explains everything in the universe, the theory of everything. Still, same like this in the consciousness. Consciousness is subjective to everyone. Like you feel consciousness differently, you feel differently. My conscious experience will be different from anyone else. So a unified definition and the unified theory which explains consciousness very well, that is not still, that is under process now. So I want all of you close your eyes for just for few seconds. It's a kind request to everyone. Yeah. Imagine yourself and ask a question from yourself. Who am I? Now please open your eyes. Thank you so much. Okay, have you found any answer of that? Anyone who want to discuss? Who am I? Who are you? Who am I? We don't have a clear answer for that. There are some philosophical explanations for that, some philosophers, but philosophical explanations are not enough to answer this question, who am I? Today, we will learn this basic question that who am I? And the secret and this mystery lies in the interaction of consciousness and the subconscious mind. And we will also discuss about its implications in our daily life, how it contributes to our health, and like this. Slides. So, in order to understand consciousness and the subconscious mind, we will go, because it is a very deep concept to understand. It is not that easy to understand. Still, that's why it is still a mystery for a lot of neuroscientists and the scientists in the world. So, first of all, before starting that, I want to share my brief history with you. When I was in the FSC, I was doing higher education schooling. So I was searching at that time about the unsolved mysteries of the universe. So I got interest in the cosmology. At that time, the greatest mystery was that what is the origin of this universe? How the universe will end? What is the origin of the space and time? So after studying many scientists at that time, and when I moved to the medical school, and I studied the whole human body, and I studied the whole human body systems, I realized that universe is not that big mystery in the whole thing. Through the device through which we can sense this universe, through which we can make knowledge about this universe, through which we can gain knowledge about this universe, that is the greatest mystery. And that is our brain. Yeah. So that's why. And the other question is, first question is, who am I? Second question is, why it matters to you? Why is it important to study consciousness and subconscious mind? After studying consciousness and subconscious mind, after studying the interaction between it, we will be able to understand our own self. We will be able to understand that to apply that knowledge in our daily life will impact our health as well. So big questions. Who are we? That we have discussed earlier. Second thing is how the subconscious mind influence our conscious experiences. We will discuss later in that. What makes us us? That's the same question. What is reality and what is illusion? I'm standing here. I'm looking at you guys. You are looking at me. And this is a mic. This is a black colored mic. Okay? You will see this mic in a different perspective. I will see this mic in a different perspective. What is the reality of this mic? How really it is? So that's different for every one of us. Why do we dream? That's also a mystery. And by understanding consciousness and subconscious mind, we will move towards it. How do we perceive time? Any physicist here? Anyone from the physics background? No one? Okay. As in universe, we all are in the space and time. Yeah. So time is also variable for every one of us. We experience time differently. Yeah. So that will also be explained by the interaction of consciousness and subconscious mind. What lies beyond conscious awareness or the conscious experience? That we will also discuss later in this. Okay, so today in our today discussion, we will discuss about the key points. First is the consciousness. Second one is the subconscious mind and the mutual interaction between it. And neuroscience, psychiatry, and psychology, these three are dealing with the same thing that is called the brain, but from different perspectives. Yeah. So in the neuroscience, psychology, and psychiatry, we will look to the consciousness and the subconscious mind differently and will get some results from that, and how that results will impact our daily life and our health. Okay. But before understanding consciousness, simple is that consciousness is a state of being aware of your own self and with the external environment. I'm standing here, I am aware of myself, and I am aware of my external environment as well. So this is called consciousness in a simple term, but it is not that simple because it is subjective to everyone. My consciousness is different from your consciousness. So what is the actual consciousness? That's the mystery. Yeah. But before understanding, like in order to understand the whole system, you can take one particle from that system, study that one particle, the properties, characteristics of that particle, and you will understand the whole system. Yeah. So human being is the particle in this whole universe. If you can, if you study the human being, human mind, you will understand the whole universe. This is the crux of today's discussion. Yeah. So before understanding the consciousness, we should have to understand what is universal consciousness. We are living in this world. Our world is situated in the galaxies. Our galaxies are a part of this whole universe. Yeah. So first we should have to understand what is that awareness. What is that awareness? Where it comes from? What is the origin of that? So it is the awareness of the whole universe. In the whole universe, every galaxy, every planet, everything as we are now sitting in a black hole. Black hole is also the part of this universe. Yeah. So how everything in the whole universe have some way or the other have awareness in itself. So before understanding our awareness, our consciousness, we should have to understand the awareness and the consciousness of the universe. We are the part of the universe. Yeah. And in order to understand the consciousness and awareness of the universe, we should have to understand how this universe originated. What is the origin of this universe? How this universe originated? How the origination of this universe will explain the consciousness of the whole universe. We will look upon it now. The very famous theory about the origin of the universe is the Big Bang theory. Yeah, every one of you are aware of that. Big Bang theory. Billions of years ago, some quantum changes happened, and as a result of that, from the point of singularity, it explodes and our universe is formed. So that is that theory. So at this point, there is no consciousness at the point of singularity. Now, after the explosion, after the expansion, there is the origination of the space and time. Yeah. So after the origination of the space and time, all the matter originated, and with the origination of all the matter, there is the origination of consciousness. Every particle, everything in the whole universe have some way, one way or the other, have consciousness, awareness. So, yeah. There are other theories as well which explains the origin of the universe. You guys will be thinking that why we are studying the origin of the universe. You guys keep this thing in your mind, and later we will correlate and combine these concepts together. So we will be able to understand the consciousness and the subconscious mind in a more detail. Okay, one is the evolutionary theory. Evolutionary theory says that density of matter decreases over time. The density of the matter decreases over time. So according to the evolutionary theory, as the density decreases over time, density of matter decreases over time, so the consciousness will decrease over time. Second thing is, third theory is the steady state theory. Density of matter is constant over time. As consciousness of the whole universe is the property of the matter, yeah. So as in the steady state theory, there is, they say that the density of the matter is constant over time. So the matter is constant, the consciousness will be constant. But these are the different theories. Other than that, there's a multiverse theory that multiple universes exist. Yeah. At the point of singularity, the universe will originate, and at some point, if it will end. But this theory suggests that as the multiple universes existed, multiple matters will exist, and multiple matters, the existence of multiple matters suggests that the consciousness will be multiple. Yeah. Okay. So that was the discussion about how the consciousness, awareness in each and every particle, how it arises in the universe. Now, after the origination of this universe, Earth is the result of that. Yeah. So Earth, how the consciousness arose on Earth. Actually, it was many theories, like theory of evolution, you can say. First, there was a singular cell, there was prokaryotes and prokaryotes, divide, and like after the multiple divisions, it gave rise to the organisms, and human being is also an organism. Yeah. So in the newborn, in the fetus, there is the development of major organs. Yeah. Digestive system, cardiovascular system, respiratory system, and nervous system also, the development of the brain as well. So the journey of the human consciousness, the journey of the human awareness in itself and with the environment starts from the state of in the stage of the fetus. Yeah. So it starts with the age of the fetus and it ends until the death. So kindly turn off the lights. Okay. So the thing which we have discussed until now, consciousness, awareness, and the origin of the universe, and how the consciousness originate in the universe and how it originate in the human being. We will look that thing in the small video. Let's watch that small video. Turn off the lights, please. Have you understand that video? Yeah. Have you got any idea from that video? Anyone who want to share their views? Yeah. Okay. Anyone else? Exactly. Development. Yeah. Anyone else? Yeah, exactly. So it was actually our journey, my journey, your journey, and our journey. It was actually from the origin of the universe to until now. Yeah. So how we originated and how we evolved with the passage of time and how we reached to this age. In that, this is not only about the origin of the universe. This also explains about how awareness arised, how consciousness arised in every particle of the universe, in every substance of the universe, in every molecule of the universe, in every cell of the universe, in every cell, everything that is in the universe is in itself, one way or the other, aware, have consciousness. Yeah. We are also the part of that universe. We also have awareness. We also have awareness about ourselves. We also have awareness about our external environment as well. So that's about the consciousness. So until now, the basic definition of consciousness will be the state of the mind, which is being aware of itself and aware of the external environment as well. Yeah. So that's the consciousness. We will correlate that with the subconscious mind as well. Okay. Sometimes we use terms in the psychology, neuroscience, psychiatry, brain, mind, human body. Yeah. These two terms, brain and the mind, they are two terms which are used differently. What is brain? Brain is the physical structure which is inside our skull. That is the brain. What is mind? Brain is an organ. Every organ has some kind of functions. So all the functions of the brain is called mind. Simple as that. Yeah. Now, before reaching to the conclusion, before reaching to that thing, that the interaction of consciousness and the subconscious mind, first discuss some basic things. First is how our thoughts are formed. How our behavior is formed. How we sense and perceive things. How our brain control human body functions, and how coordination is formed in the whole body systems. How our thoughts are formed. For answering that question, we should have to move inside our brain. We should have to discuss the biological phenomena. We should have to discuss everything inside our brain. Yeah. So we should have to look the brain from the outside to the inside. I don't have skull at this time. I don't have that structures at this time, but I will, you guys imagine with me. This is my skull, okay? Inside my skull, there is the brain. But before reaching to the brain is covered by specific membranes, which are called the meninges, dura mater, arachnoid matter, and the pia mater. Yeah? And there are some foldings which are giving support to the brain. And between the dura mater, between the arachnoid matter and the pia mater, there is the fluid which is called the cerebrospinal fluid. That thing's a little bit scientific, but that's very important to understand that little terms about that. Cerebrospinal fluid. The function of the cerebrospinal fluid is to reduce friction. Yeah. Now, skull, different layers of the brain, cerebrospinal fluid. Then we reach the brain. The brain is divided into separate regions: frontal lobe, occipital lobe, temporal lobes, that is divided into different lobes, sphenoidal lobes. So there are different lobes and different regions of the brain. And every lobe and different region of the brain have different function. Yeah. Now, if you can take the frontal lobe, like this is my frontal on the front, this is my frontal bone, and below that there is the frontal lobe. Okay. In the frontal lobe, if you can take a small piece of tissue and look under the microscope, in the high resolution, high magnifying microscopes, electron microscope and something like that, you will reach to the cellular structures of the brain, the cytology of the brain. And the basic structural and the functional unit of the brain is the neurons. Yeah. So, neurons. Now, there are billions of neurons. There are billions of cells, brain cells. There are billions of neurons in our brain. And as all the cells in the body communicate with each other. Yeah. So, same as in the brain, the cells of the brain, which are called neurons, they also communicate with each other. With each other. And they make a one cell, second cell, one neuron, second neuron. They make a connection. That connection is called the synaptic connection. Yeah. So there are multiple biological mechanisms which is happening between that, but we will not go into the detail of that. You guys have to keep in this thing in mind that we have the brain, we have the lobes of the brain, the partitions of the brain, and then we have the cellular structure and the cytology of the brain, which is called the neurons. And one neuron makes connection with the other neuron, and they make a synaptic connections, millions and billions of synaptic connections. That's how our thoughts are formed. I'm standing here, I'm looking at you, I'm looking at you, and my brain sense that, yeah. In that, a specific synaptic connection is now formed inside my brain, like about your physical structure, about your um, body. Yeah. So that's how the thoughts are formed. Now, as we have discussed, the brain is divided into specific lobes, and the consciousness, the awareness, you are aware of yourself and you are aware of your external environment. One thing is that we have discussed in the previous that how the universe, how the consciousness arises in the universe, and how the consciousness, what is the consciousness in the human body. But what is subconscious mind? Subconscious mind is actually the programmed mind, which the origination of the subconscious mind starts early in the stage of fetus. When the baby is in the fetus, when there is a development of the brain, several developmental stages of the brain, there is the, with the passage of time, as the brain develops, as the subconscious mind develops. When the baby is born in the world, baby experience different kind of experiences, and that is actually doing the conditioning of that individual. So that's called the social conditioning, you can say. Yeah, social conditioning. In this social conditioning, that in that what is actually happening? Memories are formed. Experiences are formed. So the memories, experiences, that comprises 90% of our brain. Okay? So that is our subconscious mind. And conscious mind is awareness of yourself with the external environment. Now, here is very important thing to understand. That is the time. We have studied. In the previous slides we looked about that, about the origination of this universe, and we have how the conscious origination of the universe arisen and originated. Space and time. There are 3 parameters of time: past, present, and the future. Yeah. So the subconscious mind is actually the part of our past. Yeah. And the conscious mind is actually the part of our present. That's the very important parameter to understand. About the consciousness. In the world of neuroscience, many researches happened and many theories have formed. First one is the global workspace theory. That's the famous theories about the origination of consciousness. What is consciousness actually? It suggests that information for various brain regions creates unified consciousness. Our brain, as we have talked about that, our brain have different lobes. It have different parts, and different the activities, the functions of the different parts of the brain combine together and make a unified consciousness, make a unified awareness. Is it clear? Anyone who? That's a little bit complex, but if anyone do not understand anything, can raise a hand and we'll talk about that in the detail then. Okay, second thing is the integrated information theory. Integrated information theory suggests that consciousness comes from the integration of information. Like in our daily life, we perceive a lot of things. We make a lot of experiences. Yeah, we make a lot of synaptic connections inside our brain. We make a lot of thought processes. We make a lot of synaptic connections. So separately, this is actually the formation of the information. So this, in that theory, suggests that information from the various lobes of the brain combine together and form our awareness of ourselves and our awareness with our external environment. That's the first global workspace theory in the integrated information theory. That is actually the scientific perspective. Now, there is a philosophical perspective as well, which also tried in the past to explain about the consciousness. What is consciousness? First one is a dualism. What is dualism? Dualism suggests that the mind and the body are two distinct things. They are separate. Mind and the body are separate. Materialism suggests that every part of the universe have some way or the other have consciousness, and the consciousness arise from matter. That is a materialism. Third one is panpsychism. Panpsychism suggests that every part of the universe, everything in the whole universe, some way or the other have consciousness. Everything in the whole universe, either that planets, that a small leaf, that the trees, anything in the whole universe that comprises certain point of consciousness, certain point of awareness. That's a panpsychism. But the philosophical perspective is not that established, but that's a simple view about that. The global workspace theory and the integrated information theory, that are the established theories in the neuroscience about consciousness, about awareness. What is subconscious mind? Consciousness is controlled by our free prefrontal cortex, and there is anterior cingulate gyrus. So that's control our consciousness. There are specific names of the brain that controls consciousness. And the subconscious mind, as we have talked about that subconscious mind originates and arises from the time of birth, and that is a result of experiences. New experiences we can like every one of you, including me, have different kind of experiences in the past. Yeah, good experiences, bad experiences. That is the part of our subconscious mind. Subconscious mind stores memories. It stores emotions. Yeah. So it comprises 90% of the mind, 90% of the functioning of the brain. So that is the subconscious mind. Now, which part of the brain is controlling the subconscious mind? That is the limbic system. Limbic system, hippocampus and amygdala, which are also responsible for the emotions and which are also responsible for the memories, storage, short-term memory and long-term memory. Yeah. So they are actually forming our subconscious mind. But important thing we should have to keep in mind that subconscious mind comprises 90% of our brain and the conscious mind comprises only 10% of our brain. Subconscious mind makes memories, emotions, which depicts the past. Yeah? And the conscious mind is about the present. That's the difference between the conscious mind and subconscious mind. You guys are getting? Yeah. Can you ask a question? Yeah, you can ask. It's okay.
You are talking about the subconsciousness and consciousness. The point is like how you basically explain it scientifically, like the consciousness and unconsciousness. I mean, from medical point of view, from neuroscience, you can explain this philosophical sort of things.
Yeah, that's a very good question. Yeah. So now we will explain that scientifically, from the perspective of neuroscience, from the perspective of psychiatry, and from the perspective of psychology. First, before discussing about the scientific perspective, which is about the neuroscience, psychology, and psychiatry, first we should have to understand the difference between these three. First thing is the neuroscience. As we have discussed, our whole human body comprises of cells, as brain is also comprises of cells, neurons. Yeah? So when we study our brain, remember this thing, these psychiatry, psychology, and neuroscience, these three are dealing with the same thing. That is the brain, but from the different perspective. What is the neuroscience perspective? Neuroscience is actually the scientific study of the brain at its biological level. When we study our brain at biological level, at neurons, like And the neuroscience, you will study neurons. There's specific type of neurons, myelinated neurons. From the biology, those from the biology background, that's why I'm using these terms. Myelinated neurons, non-myelinated neurons, and there are specific sympathetic pathways, parasympathetic pathways. When we study that's on its biological level, that is the study of the brain at neuroscience perspective. When we study the brain in a way that to study the thoughts, how thoughts are formed, how thoughts combine together and they form a specific type of behavior. Thoughts combine together, they form a specific type of behavior and habits. When we study the thoughts, the patterns of thoughts, yeah, good patterns, bad patterns, that's a different study. But when we study the brain at a thought level, so at the thought level, simply that we can say that we are studying the brain now at what? Psychology level. Now what is psychiatry? Psychiatry is the combination. Psychiatry is actually dealing with the disorders. When you study the brain in a way that you should have to treat the mental disorders, like many mental disorders, we will talk about that later, schizophrenia, OCD, and like that. So when you study the mental disorders, so then at this stage you are studying the brain at psychiatric level. So that's the thing. What is the neuroscience perspective of consciousness and the subconscious mind? As consciousness is the awareness of our own self and with the external environment, and the subconscious mind is the programmed mind. As is it the result of our past experiences? Is it the result of our past emotions and that things? So as we have talked about that consciousness is controlled specifically more by the prefrontal lobe. Like this is my frontal bone, and below that there's a prefrontal lobe. And the subconscious mind is controlled by our limbic system, hippocampus and amygdala. Yeah. So all the cells which are there in the hippocampus and amygdala, they are contributing in the neuroscience perspective of subconscious mind. And all the cells which are in the prefrontal cortex, when we study the prefrontal cortex at the cellular level and the biological level, so that will comprise what? Conscious mind. So that's the neuroscience perspective of that. Like you can see here the prefrontal cortex, anterior cingulate cortex. This is mostly responsible for our conscious experience, awareness. And you guys can see there the hippocampus and amygdala, which collectively combine to form a limbic system that is responsible for subconscious mind. Now, earlier we have discussed about the difference between the brain and the mind. Brain is the physical structure and the functioning of the brain is the mind. There are two kinds of functionings. There are two kinds of mind. One is the conscious mind and the other one is the subconscious mind. Conscious mind comprises only 10% of your brain. Subconscious mind comprises 90% of your brain. What is the function of the consciousness? It is responsible for awareness, is it clear from this definition? And the subconscious mind is responsible for the memories. Okay, this is very important to understand. The different wave structures of the brain. Like you guys have seen the ECG in the hospitals. What ECG records? Anyone? Yeah? Anyone else? Okay, anyone else? Anyone else? You? Okay. Yeah. Heart. ECG records the electrical activity of the heart. And that electrical activity of the heart gives some kind of information about the heart. The perimeters of the heart the pulse, heartbeat, and how the heart is doing conduction, and actually the normal functioning of the heart. Yeah, and it also suggests about the abnormalities which is happening inside the heart. Yeah, as like this, the brain is actually recorded by the EEG, electroencephalography. Yeah, so in the brain, how this electrical activity is formed? This electrical activity is formed as a result of synaptic connections. All the cells of the brain, neurons, they combine to form, and they form at the biological level, at the smaller level, they form electrical activities. And that electrical activities is then recorded in the EEG. And this electrical activity shows specific states of our brain. This shows the normal states of our brain as well, and this shows about the abnormalities of our brain as well. Okay, so what kind of electrical activities are formed in that? Alpha waves, beta, gamma, theta, and delta. So in the state of sleep, when we are sleeping, like for example, if this lecture is looking a little bit about boring, so some of you will be, you are sleeping maybe. So yeah, it's a joke. Okay, so anyone who is sleeping now is in the state of delta. Yeah, anyone who is sleeping now have the brain activity. When we put the electrodes on that person's brain, and we will get the delta waves. Okay, anyone who is feeling drowsiness, theta waves. Okay, and those who are listening to me actively, they are now in the state of beta waves. Yeah, and some way or the other, as I am standing here, I am actually solving problems. I am trying to solve problem. I am actually trying to stand in front of you and deliver a lecture. So I am in the state of gamma. Yeah. So is it clear about these things? Yeah. Now, what are the states of brain? There are different states of brain. You can say there are different states of mind. Like in the sleep is a very important thing which we can ignore sometimes. Sleep, there are REM and the non-REM sleep. Have you heard anyone? REM and the rapid eye movement and the non-rapid eye movement. So in the state of sleep, when you put the electrodes on that person brain, and you record the electroencephalography, electrical activity, you will get the specific patterns of frequency and the wavelength of the waves, and that specific frequency will be delta. Yeah. Other thing is altered states. Altered states, like in the state of meditation. I have a question now. Who is doing meditation in his or her daily life? No one? But sometimes. Okay, so in the state of meditation, we have the alpha and the theta waves. Psychedelics, there are specific substances which alters our state of consciousness. Yeah, psychedelics. So there are some certain kind of medications sometimes used in the psychiatry. So in that state, the person is in the gamma, hypnotism in the theta. Daydreaming, दिन में ख्वाब देखना. We sound ज़्यादा देखते हैं अक्सर लोग. मैं बहुत ज़्यादा देखता हूँ. Imagination, our imagination. So in that imaginative state, we have alpha state. That's very, very strong state actually. In the coma, we have the delta state, and the unconsciousness, we have delta state. Any doctor sitting here? Okay, so what actually happens when the patient went into the coma? We actually, what parameter we look first? Any idea? GCS? Yeah. GCS is a specific scale, Glasgow's coma scale, that is specifically used to look at the awareness that the person is aware or not. That's specifically used in the hospitals. So when the person is in the coma state, so that is in the delta. Previous slide. Okay, so until now we have discussed specific things. What is consciousness? It is clear to what is the subconscious mind and how does it functions? How do we perceive reality? Okay, that's a very important question. How do we perceive reality? For me, reality is different. For you, reality is different. For you, reality is different. Okay, I look at the things differently. You look at the things differently. So how will you explain this in terms of consciousness and the subconscious mind?
It's a subconscious impacting our reality as well, like our past impacts our present.
Yeah, exactly. As our memories are formed, our emotions are formed, that's a part of our subconscious mind. So that is actually forming our reality. That is a forming reality for us. Social conditioning, we can say. Okay, who are we in terms of consciousness and the subconscious mind? All our subconscious experiences, all our memories, all our thoughts, which are formed from the time of birth until now at this age, that explains who we are actually. Social conditioning, we can say. Yeah. So that's explain who we are. How do consciousness and subconscious mind interact? That's the crux. That's the major thing we should have to discuss in that. As we have talked about that, subconscious mind comprises 90%, and subconscious mind is the result of our memories and emotions, and that is the result of our past. Yeah. So and consciousness is the result of our present. So anything which is formed in the past will impact the present. Yeah. And the cycle goes on. Yeah. So that's the specific interaction of the subconscious mind and the conscious mind. Yeah. Have you heard about this telepathy, mind reading, telekinesis? Anyone? Anyone doing telepathy now?
No.
Reading my mind. Okay, that's telepathy is actually that's not that established science. Yeah, pseudo-science, but for the sake of fun in this discussion, we are discussing this. Telepathy is actually transference of thoughts. Yeah, as I am transferring my thoughts to you, to anyone else, and you are actually the communication not from your words but from your thoughts. That is the telepathy, pseudoscience. Pseudoscience. Okay, psychological perspective on consciousness and the subconscious mind. As we have discussed, the subconscious mind comprises our memories and the emotions, and the conscious mind makes us able to aware ourselves of ourselves and with the external environment. So our behavior, our thoughts are formed in the brain. If I have a question that I have a little question that anyone can participate now. How do you guys agree that the past experiences and the past thoughts impacts our present? How?
Neurons, that's the lens that we're looking at the world with.
Yeah.
That's the lens that we use to look at the world.
Yeah. So the past behaviors will also impact the present behaviors.
Yes.
So as when we study the behaviors and when we study the emotions and the behaviors and the patterns of thoughts, we are actually studying the brain at a psychological level. Yeah. So this is a psychological perspective of consciousness and subconscious mind. as our past behaviors, past emotions, past thoughts impact our present thoughts.
Wouldn't you be assuming that time is moving in a motion that lapses for that to happen? What if there is a theory whereby there's a possibility that time doesn't follow a chronological order, that it is a haphazard, random movement? I'm talking at a quantum level. In that case, then would it impact that?
Okay. Okay, that's a very good question. When there is the subconscious mind result into the conscious mind. I will explain. All the thoughts, all the emotions, all the behaviors which are the part of our subconscious mind, some way or the other, they are becoming the part of our conscious mind now. Yeah. So, what's your question actually? Yeah.
Well, it wasn't a question, it was just
Yeah,
a
yeah.
comment. I do have a question that I'll ask you.
Okay, we will discuss them at the quantum level as well. Okay. Okay, what is a psychiatric perspective? Psychiatry is actually the study of the brain or the mind in order to treat the mental disorders. Yeah. So there are, as we have studied, there are two kinds of minds: conscious mind and the subconscious mind. So there are some disorders which are related with the conscious mind and some are with the subconscious mind. Delirium, confusion, like कभी कभार ऐसा होता है ना कि हम कंफ्यूज फील करते हैं. अच्छा, so that, but now here look at one thing, that in a state of confusion, you are in the present or you are in the past? Yeah. Okay. Actually, you are in the present and feeling the confusion in the present state. So, as consciousness is about the present, so that's the thing. Okay. In the coma, we have discussed, and some disorders, mental disorders, which are like OCD, obsessive compulsive disorders. अच्छा, any one of you, कोई ऐसा है जो कि खाना खाता है, खाने के बाद हाथ धोते ज़रूर? अच्छा, कोई ऐसा है जो कि कंटिन्यूसली एक चीज़ बार बार वो करता है, लाइक रिपीट द एक्शंस, लाइक दरवाज़ा बंद किया है, पता नहीं बंद किया है नहीं किया, या check it again and that's a kind of overthinking and okay, so that's the repetitive actions in order to avoid any kind of future fear experiences. That is,
It happened in the past as well. If something has happened with someone,
yeah. So that's why it is a part of the subconscious mental disorders. Yeah. होता है इस तरह sometimes, like in the past some traumas, like it is very common that for a human being certain kind of traumas होते हैं, ठीक है, और उनको future में avoid करने के लिए हम हाँ we become in the state of fear में चले जाते हैं, ठीक है, ताकि वो उसको prevent कर सकें और उसके लिए कुछ actions करते हैं फिर हम. तो that is actually the obsessive compulsive disorder. Certain kind of phobias are there, okay, fear from something. Like I have a question that mobile कौन ज़्यादा use करता है? Anyone? Okay, that's actually normal. But anyone कोई ऐसा है जो कि मोबाइल के बगैर रह ही नहीं सकता? अच्छा, थोड़ी देर भी मोबाइल साइड पे हुआ तो एक एंजाइटी हो जाती है शुरू, एक स्ट्रेस आना शुरू हो जाता है. Nomophobia, that's called nomophobia. Nomophobia, which is growing in this generation. Yeah. Okay. Now, impacts of consciousness and subconscious minds on overall health, or is the holistic approach. How the consciousness and the subconscious mind impacts our health. Okay. If you can look at about the conscious mind and impact on health, it has a direct impact on that. Like consciousness is the state of awareness in the present. Yeah. So what we are thinking now will become the part of our subconscious. What I'm thinking now, if I'm thinking negative, that will become the part of our subconscious in the next minute. Yeah. At the quantum level. Yeah. And one thing is that stress. Stress is very common nowadays. Everywhere we are experiencing certain kind of stress and like these things. So you can आप इमेजिन करें कि स्ट्रेस हम किस स्टेट में लेते हैं, प्रेजेंट में या पास्ट में? Yeah, we are taking stress about the past, but in the present. Yeah, but in the present. So stress is the part of our conscious experience. Yeah. And how subconscious mind impacts, that's the clear answer, that the subconscious minds play a very vital role in our health. With the passage of time, the thoughts are formed. The society teaches a lot of things to us. That becomes our beliefs. That becomes our programming, which become our programmed mind. That is called the subconscious mind. And that programmed mind, or that programmed subconscious mind, impacts our conscious mind and impacts our present as well. Okay. It is believed, it is somewhat not clearly scientific, somewhat pseudo-science, psychosomatic. A lot of disorders are thought to be psychosomatic in the hospitals as well. When I was working in the hospital, so I was having the habit to ask from the patient in the history that stress तो नहीं है, कोई tension तो नहीं है. 95% ही होता है वो कहते हैं स्ट्रेस है, वो कहते हैं टेंशन है, ये मसला है, वो मसला है. Okay, so I gathered the data and I realized that 95% of the people, first they have stress, they have anxiety, they have the habits of overthinking, they have the habits of, then overthinking become depression, and it leads to the mental disorders, and then the mental disorders, some way or the other, a lot of people, कुछ लोगों को पता भी नहीं होता कि उनको anxiety है, कुछ लोगों को पता भी नहीं उनको stress है, कुछ लोगों को पता भी नहीं है उनको depression है, but they are in the state of stress, they are in the state of depression, and that leads to the origination of the other diseases and the disorders of human body. Like, have you experienced, like when you are in the stress, पेट खराब हो जाता है, digestion problem, yeah, digestive problem हो जाती है. क्यों? Why? Because our brain is controlling our whole human body with the help of the nerves, and it coordinates the whole human body systems, and it communicates with the whole human body system with the help of the nerves. Yeah. So when the brain is in the stress, when the brain is in the unstable state, these are all the unstable states of the brain: overthinking, anxiety, depression, OCD, and something mental disorders like that. So that leads to the origination of other diseases. So that's called psychosomatic. That's a psychosomatic approach as well. Okay, now techniques to enhance health and personality. What is personality actually? Personality is the result of our thoughts in the first stage. First is our thoughts. Our thoughts combine in the brain, make synaptic connections about ourselves and our external environment. They make a specific conditioning about ourselves and our external environment. And that thoughts combine together to form habits. Yeah. And that habits combine to form personality. Yeah. So that's specific type of personality people have, like introvert personality, extrovert personality. Anyone who has introvert personality? Introvert means जो कि अपने आप में रहते हैं, और extrovert जो कि yeah, it's okay. I also have an introvert personality. I love introvert personality because introvert people are very creative, and some people are both introvert and extrovert as well. Okay, so in the earlier in the 1960s, it was believed that neurons are not formed. Neurons are constant in number in the brain, with the constant in number in the brain. But with the passage of time, with the scientific development and the theories and like this, neurons are not constant in the brain. Okay, why we are talking about neurons number? More neurons, more synaptic connections, more creativity, more productivity, okay? Yeah, more thinking and something. If the neurons are constant, so there's a limitation to the brain then. But earlier in the 1960s, it was believed that the neurons are constant. But the good news is that neurons are not constant. Neurons can increase with the passage of time. It can increase with specific techniques. It can increase with specific techniques in the healthcare. Okay, this is the very important property of our brain, which we all should have to understand: neuroplasticity. What is neuroplasticity? Neuroplasticity is the ability of the brain to adapt to change. It is ये एक हमारे माइंड की सलाहियत है विद द पैसेज ऑफ टाइम कि हमारा ब्रेन विद द पैसेज ऑफ टाइम चेंज होता है. सो दैट्स अ वेरी गुड थिंग. दैट्स अ न्यूरोप्लास्टिसिटी. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, some of you will have opinion that brain अगर constant होता तो ठीक रहता, but in some cases it is very dangerous. Like अगर कोई डिप्रेशन में है, अगर कोई एंग्जाइटी में है, तो अगर उसका ब्रेन कांस्टेंट रहे, ठीक है, और वो चेंज ही ना हो, ठीक है, सो दैट विल बी अ नाइटमेयर फॉर दैट person. Yeah. So brain change with the passage of time from birth to death. Structurally as well, size of the brain, density of the gray matter and the white matter and density of the brain, it changes. And it also changes functionally. The functions of the brain changes as well. But here is a very important point. How we should have to change our brain. We should have to change our brain by focusing on consciousness. By focusing on the present moment. Like, if I am thinking negative in this state, I am standing here and I'm aware of myself and I am aware of the external environment as well. Now I am in the state of consciousness. If I will think negative, I will form negative pattern inside my brain, and that negative pattern will become the part of my subconscious mind. And that will definitely form negative behaviors and negative personality. And vice versa for the positive mindset as well. So that is the very important thing, that we can change our brain with the passage of time by following some specific techniques in the healthcare. If any one of you is facing a problem of anxiety, is facing a problem of stress, is facing a problem of depression, is having a problem of overthinking, they can change their brain. It's 100% by following specific techniques. So that's a good news. Like, here is the MRI scan. Like you can see, left hand task and the right hand task. When brain is divided into two hemispheres. When you are using your right side, it is controlled by the left hemisphere. When you do the task from the left hand, it is actually controlled by the right side of the brain. So when somebody is doing left hand task, so they have specific patterns in the MRI. You can see here, there are specific patterns. Now it is totally different when a person is doing the task from the right hand. You can see. So it suggests that, for example, if this person is in the state of anxiety or depression or any mental disorder, if this person is forming specific patterns like this, and these patterns are of anxiety or depression let's imagine, if this person changes his action and start doing tasks from the left hand, the patterns will change. Yeah, the patterns will change. The formation of the synaptic connections will change. The formation, when the synaptic connections will change, the thoughts will change. Thoughts will change. Ultimately, it will leads to the habits will change. Habits will change. Personality will change. So that's neuroplasticity. Neurogenesis. Neurogenesis. First one is the neuroplasticity. You guys keep this thing in mind that it is a very good news for all the people around the world who are now facing anxiety, depression, and mental disorders. Second thing, neurogenesis. Neurogenesis is the formation of new nerve cells. When there is the formation of new nerve cells, there is the possibility that the brain will function more. That you will become, अगर किसी को शौक है कि somebody is interested in calligraphy, somebody is interested in music, yeah, so वो अगर more neurons हैं brain में, number of neurons more हैं, तो वो क्या होगा, उसके पास और ज़्यादा possibility होगी ज़्यादा connections बनाने की, और ज़्यादा connections बनेंगी तो उससे ज़्यादा synaptic connections बनेगी, ज़्यादा thoughts बनेंगे, ज़्यादा thoughts बनेंगे तो ज़्यादा habits create होंगी, or something like that. Yeah, it's possible. It's possible. Yeah, it's possible. Like we have already discussed about the cingulate gyrus, the hippocampus, which is controlling. The frontal lobe is controlling the consciousness, and the amygdala and the hippocampus is controlling our subconscious mind. So that's also a good news. The neurogenesis, the formation of new nerve cells, it is possible. Subconscious mind reprogramming. Why we are not talking about conscious mind reprogramming? Conscious mind is the state of your mind in the present. Yeah, so उसकी कोई programming नहीं होती. Okay, the subconscious thought, the subconscious experience, some way or the other will become the conscious experience, and the conscious experience will become subconscious experience. That's a cyclic pathway. So in that, subconscious mind comprises 90% of the brain. It comprises memories, emotions. Yeah? So I have a question that programming किसकी होनी चाहिए? Conscious mind की या subconscious mind की?
Answered it yourself that it should be with the subconscious mind.
Yeah. Why?
Because it has more power.
Yeah.
The mind that's working with the present does not need programming because it's just functioning.
Yeah. But here is a trick that the subconscious mind cannot be programmed without the help of conscious mind. But in order to change our subconscious mind, we should have to focus on our conscious mind. We should have to focus on our present. We should have to focus, when we will focus on the present and do certain kind of techniques, tasks, which will create new thoughts, which will create new experiences, which will create new habits, that will definitely be the part of the subconscious mind. Like, if you can say, like, this is the conscious mind, this is the subconscious mind. Now, this is the present, this is the past. This comprises all the memories, all the traumas, anxieties, depressions, and which happened in the past. Anyone, okay? This is the present. In order to change this subconscious mind, we should have to focus on conscious mind. Now, let's सारी थॉट्स को छोड़ देते हैं, सिर्फ फोकस करते हैं एक थॉट पर, दिस थॉट, ओके, वन थॉट इन द प्रेजेंट. एक न्यू थॉट मैंने सोची, ठीक है, आई थॉट अ न्यू थॉट, एक न्यू पैटर्न्स बने, न्यू साइनेप्टिक कनेक्शंस बने, ठीक है. दिस न्यू साइनेप्टिक कनेक्शंस will now, this new synaptic connection is the past of, is the part of present, but in the next moment it will be past. it will be the part of the subconscious mind. So, in order to change that 90% programming, which is forming our personality, which is forming our behavior, we have only one way to focus on conscious mind. So, is it clear? Yeah. Okay. Sometimes that's also not a first I would say that's a pseudoscience. Okay, that's not an established science until now, but that has some impact as well. Mindfulness. Mindfulness is a state of the brain without any judgment, and when the person is in the state of present, totally in the present, and without any judgment, that's mindfulness. And that's easy or difficult? I have a question.
Depends on the person, I believe.
Yeah,
Depends on the person.
depends on the person. Okay, and meditation. Meditation is not that a rocket science. Meditation is simply to focus your thoughts in the present moment, one way or the other. All the techniques of the meditation have this simple crux, and the basic thing in that is that to focus your thoughts in the present moment. Like in the meditation, some doing meditation, breathing meditation. Yeah. So वो अपनी breathing पर focus करते हैं, ठीक है? At the specific time, like for example, I'm standing here. Now, I focus my thoughts on the specific breathing pattern which is happening in the present. Still, there is a consciousness. Still, there I'm focusing on that. That's meditation. Now, that's a pseudoscience, but it has some impacts as well. Like fMRI, functional magnetic resonance imaging of the brain. एक बंदे पर ये इन्वेस्टिगेशन की गई और बिफोर द मेडिटेशन देखा गया उसको और आफ्टर द मेडिटेशन देखा गया. सो द बिफोर द मेडिटेशन यू कैन सी द पैटर्न्स एंड आफ्टर द मेडिटेशन यू सी द पैटर्न्स. Is it the same? It's totally different. So it shows that the meditation, or you can say mindfulness, have impact on our brain. Energy healing. That is also pseudoscience. That is not an established science, but that has some impacts and that has some correlation with the concept of consciousness and the subconscious mind. How the consciousness and the subconscious minds interact with each other. Conscious experience formed subconscious experience, and the subconscious experiences form conscious experiences. So, energy healing suggests that we have studied, we have learned about the electroencephalography, the electrical patterns. Every cells in the brain, every synaptic connection, every connection between the cells of the brain is actually forming some electrical activity. And when there is electrical activity, according to physics, there will be some kind of waves. Yeah, on the quantum level, there will be some kind of frequency. There will be some kind of wavelength. Yeah. So our mind collectively, if you can see collectively, अगर हम अपने mind को collectively देखें पूरे brain को, इसमें billions of cells हैं, billions of electrical activities चल रही हैं, billions of जो है ना इसमें waves बन रही हैं और billions of इसमें उसकी specific frequency है, ठीक है, उन waves की. And we are the part of this universe. In universe, everything is frequency. Everything is energy. Yeah. So one way or the other, we are interacting through our mind with the universe. Universe is also energy. We are also energy. So if you think positive, you will create that positive energy. You will create that positive wavelength, positive frequency, and that positive frequency and wavelength will interact with the specific positive frequency and wavelength outside with the universe. Okay, so in the energy healing, there is a concept of aura. That is also not an established science, but there is a concept of aura. Every human body, collectively, all the energies of the human body combine together and they form an aura, energy field of that individual. And that aura is actually interacting with the universe or the external environment. So that it is believed that कुछ लोगों का ओरा पॉजिटिव होता है, कुछ लोगों का नेगेटिव होता है, कुछ लोगों की फ्रीक्वेंसीज वेवलेंथ पॉजिटिव होती हैं, कुछ लोगों की नेगेटिव होती हैं, बट वी कैन चेंज दैट. Why is called visualization and positive affirmations are written there? With the passage, like in the visualization, you imagine, like I closed my eyes, now I am imagining positive scenarios, like this will happen, and what is actually happening? Thoughts are formed, specific patterns are formed, specific frequency and wavelength are formed, specific electrical activity is formed, which is interacting with my outside environment. Yeah. And positive affirmations. I am good. I am best. These are positive affirmations. There are a lot of positive affirmations. When I say I am good, I am best, so actually I am giving a signal to my subconscious mind. And that is actually becoming the part of my subconscious mind. And that specific thought become pattern, and that specific pattern then form my specific habits and specific personality. So that's the energy healing. Okay, so that's why I included this slide here in this, because it is very underrated in the healthcare. I have seen a lot of patients in the hospital, they are having this problem of sleep. Like when there is a state of insomnia. Have you heard about insomnia? सो नहीं पाते कुछ लोग, ठीक है. And there is a state of hypersomnia. ज़्यादा सो जाते हैं. Sometimes happens with me. मैं बहुत ज़्यादा सो जाता हूँ, ठीक है. तो both are the unstable sleep patterns, specifically the insomnia. When the person, कोई इंसान अगर सो ही नहीं पाता, इंसोमनिया है उसको, ठीक है, तो उसके कुछ माइंड रिलैक्स ही नहीं करेगा, ठीक है. माइंड रिलैक्स नहीं करेगा, ठीक है, तो सबकॉन्शियस एंड द कॉन्शियस बोथ इंटरेक्शन विल बी डिस्टर्ब्ड, and mentally that person will, one way or the other, with the passage of time, become unhealthy on the mental level. So sleep is very important, and it has a direct role in forming our subconscious experience and the conscious. Like how it impacts. जब हम रात को सोते हैं, जो भी चीज़ हम देखते हैं before the bed, many of you have maybe have experienced that वही हम अपने ड्रीम्स में देख रहे होते हैं, ठीक है. That is actually one way or the other become the part of our subconscious mind. Yeah. So sleep optimization is very important. What is sleep optimization? Sleep optimization is not that to sleep at 2 a.m. at the night, 3 a.m. at the night, and sleep whole day. No. Proper sleep at the proper time. That is very important. Suggestive in the medical sciences that after 10 p.m. सो जाना चाहिए, और 10 p.m. से 6-7 hours की हम proper sleep लें, तो it makes us able to relax our mind and relax, and it will have a beneficial impacts. Now, the connection between nature, universe, and the mind. We have already discussed this, that how the universe, nature, and the mind are connected with each other. If you can look, we can look about this: the conscious mind, our aware state of mind, and the subconscious mind. If you can look about that, all our state of being is connected with the external environment, with the universe. So. Yeah, so my final thought is that whole human body is in itself a universe. Okay, so instead of focusing on the external universe, external environment. We should have to focus on ourselves. We should have to focus on our daily patterns. Like, हम कैसा सोचते हैं, ठीक है, हम कैसे, हमारे एक्शंस किस तरह हैं, हमारी सोच किस तरह है, हम पॉजिटिव सोचते हैं, नेगेटिव सोचते हैं, व्हाट काइंड ऑफ पैटर्न्स वी आर फॉर्मिंग. एंड it is very important, very important. I want to spread this message. Any one of you watching us right now online also, if you are facing a problem of overthinking, and that is not in your control, if you are facing a problem of anxiety, depression, panic attack, you should have to reach out to the specific doctor, psychologist, psychiatrist, and specific professional for that. And there is no shame. It is a taboo in our society that people are feeling a lot of shame reaching out to the psychiatrist. मैं तो पागल नहीं हूँ, ठीक है. But psychiatrists are not about that. It is completely normal to feel stress, to feel anxiety, to have depression. So that was my final thoughts about the consciousness and the subconscious mind. Any one of you contribute in this? Yeah.
Thank you, sir. As we talked at the start about subconscious and conscious mind, do you think we are naturally designed correctly that our conscious brain, which is under more stress than our subconscious brain, so or it is probably because of population that the conscious mind is getting more stress. But is the human brain designed a sort of unfair division, isn't it?
No.
Because subconscious is not, everyone is worried about the past.
Yeah. No, that's a very good question. Yeah. But it's not actually like that. Like, if you look at the early ages in the 6th century, 7th century, that human being will have different circumstances. That human being will have different mindset according to now. So it is not actually it is the division of the brain actually, but the power still is in our hand. We can change it. For example, if one individual is facing a problem of fear, maybe phobias, any kind of anxiety or any kind of depression, so that human being can change that patterns by focusing on the conscious mind. Conscious mind is 10%, but the whole power is in the 10%.
But the power needs some energy, power needs some space, and it's got to have some physical size.
Yeah.
Because the subconscious brain is bigger in size and not doing much. And the conscious brain is focused and looking after the subconscious as well.
Yeah.
But in any case, maybe it's because of population and technology and the growth, as you talking about the history. But then secondly, I wanted to speak about sleep. You know, in some cultures, sleep and meditation, some people, meditation is more to do with South Asian, Chinese, and these kind of cultures. And then it was sort of transferred to the Western world. But in between, if you look at Turkey and Morocco, have other ways. Massage is one of the, I personally believe, it really heals you. So why meditation is getting some sort of commercial sense as well. And lastly, I want to come to this psychologist and the stereotype about them. I would think that in most countries, the general practitioner, the physician, they are trained as psychologists as well. Because when you're going to your physician, he is a psychologist, he or she. So the starting point is good. Here, if you separate them in a different, it's like treating animals and like people would think that we are something very, we have some serious problem. So we're going to some specific doctors. That's why psychologists are not really, they should be general physicians as well. They should invite the patients as their general physical health first, and then focus on psychology.
Yeah, that's a very good question. First question is about the 10% and the 90%. Yeah. So in the some areas of the brain that are smaller in size but have a larger impact. Yeah. So conscious mind is, we can say, contribute smaller, but the impact of the conscious mind is larger. From the impact perspective, the impact is 90% of the consciousness. And the subconscious impact is less as compared to that. And the other thing is about the psychologist, about their medical practitioner recognition. Actually, in the medicine, their human body is very complex. A lot of divisions are there. Like in the hospital, you will see there is a section of neurology, neurosurgery, cardiology, gastro, and a lot of departments. Actually, this is because to minimize that complexity and to focus on one thing. Like if a person is neurosurgeon, so that person should only have to focus on the surgeries of the brain. Psychologist is actually focusing just on the behavior and the thought patterns. Like to suggest to if some person have anxiety or depression and something like thought patterns. That. So psychiatrists can also do this. ENT specialist can do that. Neurosurgeon can do that. But if a one doctor can do a lot of things, then there will be a complexity. So that's why there is a division. Yeah.
The reason I asked is because generally I've lived in UK, and the first person you see is the general practitioner. And he or she tries their best to resolve major issues, especially if it's come to the brain and their diet and everything, then transfer it to some psychologist. You cannot directly go to, or maybe nowadays you can, but general practitioners, they try to resolve the issue at the spot most of the time. And they are qualified psychologists as well.
Bill? Exactly.
So lastly, what is a good diet for brain? What can we nowadays try to control this complex part of our body?
A lot of research has happened about the good diet for the brain. Keto diet, specifically, a lot of research has walnut खाने चाहिए, बादाम खाने चाहिए. But from the dietitian perspective, every diet, every food have a different nutritional value, different calorie value. So a brain is also the part of our human body. So when there is a deficiency of any mineral, like specifically zinc, when there is a deficiency of zinc, omega-3, fatty acids, so your brain functions will impair. It will start impairing. So balanced diet, any diet which is balanced, calorie calculated.
Sleep as well, like you said.
Yeah, sleep. Yeah, but the major important thing is that if your diet is good, everything goes good. But sleep is not good, then it will not work. Sleep is very important.
At the proper time, like you said.
Proper time, yeah. Proper sleep at a proper time. And it is still debatable that 4 hours sleep is enough, or 8 hours sleep is enough, or 10 hours sleep is enough. It doesn't matter. But a proper time sleep. You sleep at the same time, at the same day. Yeah, every day. Yeah.
The question, like I said, you said consciousness, subconsciousness. So what is the theory for that? On which theory you said this is 10%, this is 90%?
It is an established science in the neuroscience. A lot of researches have happened, and after I have studied that researches, so I came to the conclusion that subconscious mind comprises 90% the conscious.
Do you have some reference to that?
Maybe psychodynamic theory.
Yeah, like we have studied the global workspace theory, integrated information theory. A lot of researches have happened.
But if you say this 90 and 10 is clear like that, in that theory, like?
That's the suggestion, exactly 90.
Like you said, basically that will be like some imbalance sort of a thing. I mean, 10 and 90. So
That may be 85 or 90, yeah? The conscious mind may be 10 to 15, but that's a rough estimate of that.
it's all about in the power, basically. Like you said, 90 and 10, you can't compete that.
No. Actually, the conscious mind is 10%, but it has more impact.
But what's the theory for that? Is there any theory for that?
There is not, there may be a theory for that. I haven't studied that. But if you look at that, if you want to reprogram your subconscious mind, you cannot reprogram your subconscious mind directly without the help of conscious mind. So in order to bring a change in the subconscious mind, you will need the help of the conscious mind. So if you need the help of conscious mind, it has more impact.
But last question. But sometimes we say like some consciousness basically, you know that we have a lot of experiences basically built in there in the subconsciousness. So basically we can get some sort of help from there as well, like more help from there.
As subconscious mind is comprises our past experiences and emotions. So
I mean, a lot of data is there, a lot of experience is there, good feeling is there.
yeah. There may be a lot of data. There may be a positives and negatives as well. So positives, we will not change positives. Positives are good. We will change negatives. Yeah. So by self-inquiry, there is a concept like we have studied. Have anyone studied the book Power of Now? Eckhart Tolle. Yeah, that's a very good book. In that book, the concept is about self-inquiry. Yeah, living in the present moment without judging. And in that, there is the false identification of ourselves. Like, for example, I am standing in front of you. I recognize myself as a doctor. नहीं मैं तो डॉक्टर हूँ, मैं तो ये हूँ, मैं तो वो, मैं तो किसी के साथ बैठूंगा ही नहीं, और ये इस तरह ना. That's false identification of our self. That false. So, actually, self-inquiry. First, if you want to change your subconscious mind, first you should have to focus on your current thoughts. What is your current thoughts? As in the book, it states that watch your thoughts as you are watching the movie. So if the thoughts are in front of you and you are watching that thoughts in type of a movie, so then inquire from yourself, what are the good thoughts and what are the bad thoughts? Then you should not have to focus so much on the negative thoughts. You should have to find specific techniques, specific like mindfulness, meditation, that are pseudoscience, and there are certain conditions which needs specific help, like depression, generalized depressive disorder. This is very common all over the world. Generalized depressive disorder, which is a depressive disorder which is very common all over the world. Depression is a state which is an overthinking state, and overthinking is not in the hand of a person. So in that state, you should have to consult professional. Yeah.
My question is related to the different states of mind, or maybe the waves that you talked about, the alpha, the beta, the gamma. If a person's brain most of the time is in the gamma state or produces gamma waves, does that have a negative impact on their physical health?
Actually, we have discussed earlier specific states, for example, in the state of coma. If the person is in the coma for a long period of time, definitely will have. Yeah. Certain states, certain, like if the person is continuously in the state of anxiety or depression, so that's in the brain will specifically will be in the state of specific waves. So to remain in a specific state, that's harmful.
Like I think the slide said the gamma waves or the state, that's when you're solving problems.
Yeah.
So that's my particular interest. If you're solving a lot of problems throughout your day, does that impact your health, general health?
It depends actually on the positives and the negatives. If you are solving problems on a daily basis and for a long period of time, and it have some positive impact for yourself and for the society, and so it will, if that pattern has specific positive for yourself and the society, it will also bring some positive feelings to yourself, feeling of happiness, feeling of contentment. So as a result of continuous solving problem, the gain of that positive feelings of happiness,
Would have a positive impact.
yeah,
then,
positive
right?
impact. Yeah.
With regards to, the question is with regards to objective, the experience of objective consciousness. So you've mentioned the subjectivity of consciousness. Just to put my question into context, I'll refer to Ibn Sina. You must have in your Ibn Sina's floating man thought experiment, in which he puts forward an argument that if a man were to float with no external force on him, with all sensory perception blocked, in which he's not aware of his surroundings, would he actually be in a state of consciousness? Considering on a quantum scale that when we're part of a system, as observers, we alter the system, can we actually experience pure objective consciousness, or will it always just be subjective, in your opinion?
Yeah, that's a very good question. And that this, you are talking Ibn Sina? Okay. Spiritual awakening. We have, many of you have studied about spiritual awakening. So what is actually happening in the spiritual awakening? You move beyond your conscious experience. You are not in your conscious state, but still you are in some state. Not maybe in the conscious state. Yeah. Spiritual awakening, yeah. So, if you move, let's imagine, if you move from pseudo-scientific perspective we are talking, not as from a scientific perspective. If you move out of your conscious experience, beyond the conscious experience, still you will be the part of the universe. Still you will be the part of the, then you will become the part of the universal consciousness. Then you will become the part of universe consciousness.
You mean the Jungian universal consciousness, or the one you've described? The Carl Jung version of universal consciousness?
As I'm standing here, so I have a specific kind of consciousness. Yeah. So universe have specific kind of energy and frequency, wavelength, specific kind of consciousness. So when I move beyond my consciousness, I actually align myself with the universe consciousness, and it is not possible to move out of the universe.
She has a question as well.
Yeah.
So over time, why is it that eventually we'll forget some things that are stored in our subconscious mind, like memories? Like you said that when we're in the fetus, our subconscious mind is being programmed. So why is it that when we're born, we forget what happened in the fetus?
The simple answer is underdevelopment. Like in the state of fetus, when the body systems are in the stage of development, they are not fully matured. They are immature. They are not fully matured. So that's why.
Okay, a short question. How a neurotypical brain works?
Neurotypical?
Yes.
Normal brain. How a normal brain works? Actually, if I see myself, I'm standing now in Pakistan. If you look at the guy in the UK, if you look at the guy in the Italy or some other state, they will have specific social environment. they will have specific social conditioning. And according to that social conditioning, they will have specific subconscious mind experiences, subconscious mind. As according the answer lies in the environment in which we are living. Environment. So it is not possible to answer a unified definition for this, that how a neurotypical brain will work. It is variable. It is different for everyone. Like time is not constant. Time is variable. We are living in the space and time. Yeah. So we are also the part of the space and time. So since our subconscious mind and the conscious mind, it is not constant. It is variable. Yeah. So that's not the there is not a uniform approach towards it. But it is not important to understand this, that how a neurotypical brain works. It is important to understand how to focus more on the positives, that it will have a beneficial impacts on our health. Yeah.
Sir, we have two types of mind, conscious and subconscious and unconscious. While we are trying to forget something, जब हम एक चीज़ को फॉर्मेट कर लेते हैं उसका डेटा ख़त्म हो जाता है, ठीक है, तो हमारे माइंड में इस तरह कुछ चीज़ें होते हैं कि हम उसको फॉर्मेट मारते हैं, वो डिलीट नहीं होता, उसके साथ क्या करना चाहिए?
Yeah. No, we can do. Actually, you are talking about traumas. Maybe. Traumas. कुछ ऐसे traumas होते हैं कुछ लोगों को जो कि कोई past traumas गुजर चुके होते हैं, वो heal नहीं कर पाते. ठीक है. So actually there is a research which says about the masking effect of the brain. Masking effect में क्या होता है कि आप अपने subconscious mind को ऐसे प्रोग्राम करते हैं, let's say आपको कोई trauma है, ठीक है, अल्लाह ना करे, कोई trauma है और वो trauma heal नहीं हो रहा अभी, ठीक है, वो thoughts आपके mind से नहीं निकल रही, तो you engage your mind in a different things. New thoughts will form and new thoughts will take the place of that previous thoughts. That's the masking effect. So through this way, we can replace, not delete, but replace that past thoughts.
I'm not talking about traumas, I'm talking about the knowledge.
Knowledge.
Yeah.
Brain have specific lobes and brain have specific parts for, you are talking about memory actually. Short-term memory and long-term memory. So that's the functions of the brain. Those, actually with the passage of time, we are learning a lot of things. And those things we prioritize for ourselves, that this is very important. So our mind works in a way that our mind works in a prioritizing manner. That it remains that सिर्फ उस knowledge को माइंड में रखा जाता है, माइंड उस नॉलेज को स्टोर करता है जो कि उसको लगता है कि दैट इज इम्पॉर्टेंट स्पेसिफिकली फॉर इट्स सर्वाइवल.
थैंक यू.
यू वेलकम.
First of all, thank you very much for the very insightful lecture.
You're welcome, sir.
मैं क्वेश्चन तो नहीं है लेकिन एक सिर्फ कमेंट ही है कि आई थिंक इट्स अबाउट टाइम कि बहुत सारी चीज़ें जिनको हम सूडो साइंस कह के ना वी जस्ट पुट इट अंडर द कार्पेट. जैसे भी साइकेडेलिक्स हैं, मैजिक मशरूम्स हैं, उनके ऊपर काफ़ी रिसर्च हो रही है, ठीक है, और काफ़ी अरसे से 3-4 दहाइयों से हम लोग ये ज़ैनेक्स और बाकी एंटी डिप्रेसेंट ट्राई करते आ रहे हैं. उनको कोई इतना ख़ास सोसाइटी में, नॉट फॉर द कॉन्स्पिरेसी थ्योरीज, लेकिन कोई इतना ख़ास उनका इफ़ेक्ट आ नहीं रहा. लेकिन और कुछ ऐसी रिसर्चेस भी हैं कि जहाँ पे आप कह सकते हैं कि जो ये मेडिकल इंडस्ट्री है, दवाइयों वाली सारी, वो इसके अंदर इन्वॉल्व भी है और सारा कुछ. और आज जो हमने इसको यहाँ पे टच किया है उसको टोटली हमने मटीरियलिस्टिक जो अप्रोच है उससे गए हैं. फ़िलोसॉफिकल में तो हम गए नहीं और मेरा ख्याल है इसके रिलेटेड था भी नहीं. तो आई थिंक इट्स अबाउट टाइम कि हमें थोड़ा सा जो सूडो साइंस जिनको हम कह के اگنور کر دیتے ہیں ان کو بھی اب تھوڑا سا لائیں. جس طرح آپ نے کہا کہ وہ ان کے افیکٹس تو ہیں, دے ہیو افیکٹس آن دا باڈی, رائٹ. جس طرح میڈیٹیشن ہے یا اسپریچولیزم ہے یا اور سب کچھ ہے, تو آئی تھنک ان کو بھی اب تھوڑا سا کنسیڈر کرنا چاہیے.
Actually, science and philosophy, they two are different things and two are different perspective. چیزوں کو دیکھنے کے دو ایک الگ طریقے ہیں, two sides of same coin. But science is, the basic of the science is scientific method. Observation, hypothesis, ultimately experimentation. Science کی بیسس ہی یہی ہے کہ اس کو اسپیسیفک ایک, اگر لیٹس سے وی ٹاکڈ اباؤٹ مائنڈفلنس, وی ٹاکڈ اباؤٹ میڈیٹیشن, اگر میڈیٹیشن پہ کچھ ریسرچز کی جائیں, جیسے ہم نے MRI دیکھی, اس طرح کی کچھ ریسرچز کی جائیں اور ان کو الائنڈ کیا جائے ود دا نالج آف دا سائنس بایولوجیکلی آن ایوری لیول, لائک بایولوجیکل لیول, سائیکولوجیکل لیول, ایوری لیول سائنس میں, اور اس کو سائنٹیفکلی پروف کیا جائے, ٹھیک ہے, تو دیٹ ول بیکم دا پارٹ آف دا سائنس.
سائنس جو ابھی جہاں تک پہنچی ہے ظاہر ہے وہ اسی وجہ سے پہنچی ہے کہ وہ ہمیشہ آئیڈیاز کے لیے اوپن رہی ہے, لیکن اس نے ایک, جس طرح آپ نے بھی مینشن کیا کہ سائنٹیفک میتھڈولوجی ہے, آپ اس پہ چیزوں کو دیکھتے ہیں اینڈ سم تھنگ اگر کوئی فلٹر آؤٹ ہو کر ثابت ہوتی ہے تو اس کو تو سب تسلیم کرتے ہیں. سائنس کے اندر تو کوئی بلائنڈ فیتھ نہیں ہے کہ اگر آئنسٹائن نے کہہ دیا تو بس وہی حرف آخر ہے. آج آپ, میں, کوئی بھی, چاہے ہماری کوئی ویسی اسٹینڈنگ نہ بھی ہو سائنس میں یا ڈگری نہ بھی ہو, اگر ہم اس کو اسی سائنٹیفک میتھڈ کے پیمانے پر چیلنج کریں اور اپنی بات سامنے رکھیں, جو اس کا طریقہ کار ہے, آپ میتھڈولوجی کو فالو کرتے ہیں اور اکیڈیمک حلقوں کے سامنے رکھتے ہیں, تو وہ سائنٹیفک کمیونٹی اس کو سرٹنلی کنسیڈر کرتی ہے, اور کوئی نئی چیز آئے جو پچھلی چیز کے برعکس ہو تو اس کو بڑا اپریشیٹ کیا جاتا ہے. جہاں تک سوڈو سائنس کی بات ہے, بس ایک دو جملے میں, اچھا ہوا یہ گفتگو کا یہ نقطہ سامنے ہے تو میں بھی اپنے 2 سینٹ سامنے رکھوں. سوڈو اسٹینڈس فار, اٹ جنرلی اسٹینڈس فار سم تھنگ وچ از ناٹ ٹرو, وچ از سم تھنگ وچ از فیک, وچ ہیز ڈیسیٹفل پریٹینس. تو اگر ہم سوڈو سائنس کو مین اسٹریم کرنا چاہیں تو ظاہر ہے کہ پھر انٹیگریٹی آف نالج جو ہے وہ کمپرومائز ہو جائے گی, اور ایک ڈینجرس مس ڈائریکشن کا جو ہے وہ خدشہ پیدا ہو جائے گا. تو جو کوئی اگر کلیم آتا ہے کہیں سے بھی تو وہ اس میتھڈولوجی کے تحت ثابت کرے تو وہ بالکل سائنس اس کو کنسیڈر کرے گی, لیکن اگر وہ چیز ثابت نہ ہو رہی ہو, ظاہر ہے ہمارے ہاں سائنس میں کیا ہے, مادی اسباب ہی ہیں نا, میٹر ہے, انرجی ہے, ہمارے حواس خمسہ جہاں جواب دے جاتے ہیں یا جہاں ان کی لمیٹیشن ہوتی ہے تو وہاں ہم کوئی ڈیوائسز یوز کر لیتے ہیں, تو ہم اسی سائنٹیفک ڈومین میں رہ کے چیزوں کو دیکھ رہے ہوتے ہیں. اگر اس ڈومین میں کوئی چیز صحیح ثابت نہ ہو رہی ہو یا وہ غلط ثابت ہو رہی ہو تو پھر ظاہر اس کا مین اسٹریم کیا نہیں جا سکتا. بٹ یس, ہر طرح کے آئیڈیا کو ڈسکس ہونا چاہیے, لیکن ایک پیمانے پر ڈسکس ہونا چاہیے. تو اور یہاں پہ بھی یہی کوشش ہوتی ہے کہ نئے نقطے سامنے آئیں, مکالمہ ہو, 2 طرف کی بات آئے, اور ایک کریڈیبل, ایک ایسی نالج جو سائٹیشن بیسڈ ہو, جو ابھی تک انسانی شعور یہاں تک پہنچا, تو ظاہر ہے ہم اس کو سامنے رکھیں تاکہ ہماری گمراہ ہونے کے امکان کم ہو. بٹ آف کورس ریمین اوپن ٹو دا آئیڈیاز. تو بس یہی تھا. تھینک یو, آپ نے ٹائم دیا, آپ سب لوگوں کا بھی شکریہ. امید ہے کہ یہ گفتگو اسی طریقے سے مکالمہ ہوتا رہے گا تو روشنی کے اچھے امکانات جو ہے ہماری سماج میں سامنے آئیں گے. تھینک یو ویری مچ.
تھینک یو سو مچ. تھینک یو ایوری ون.